Hello and welcome. It's Jessica Drummond here from the Integrative Women's Health Institute. Today I have a very juicy webinar for you. We're going to be talking about the 3 essential steps to building your integrative women's health practice based in science, not hype. So, what do I mean by that? When you're stepping out to build an integrative women's health practice, or you're expanding your women's health practice into encompassing more of an integrative perspective, or if you have an integrative health practice, like a health coaching practice or a fitness practice or a physical therapy practice that you want to specialize in women's health, you need to think about 3 important things. Step 1, getting evidence-based training in nutrition and lifestyle medicine. Because here's the problem. If you really don't understand the depth of the science around using simple, really integrative and lifestyle tools, you may get caught up in the trends. Remember, step aerobics, multitasking, low fat, the whole low fat craze. Well, if we build a practice around a certain health trend, whether it's, balance board exercises or the paleo diet, we really miss the boat about understanding, looking at the current science based on which tools are going to be most appropriate for that particular client in front of you. And we end up building something that may blow away in the wind when the science changes. And I wouldn't even say the science changes, but the science evolves and is better understood. And you've kind of tied yourself in your practice to a particular trend. Step 2 is to develop strong evidence-based health coaching communication skills. These are essential specifically for getting results for female clients. So whether you're a clinician or a coach or a fitness professional, you need health coaching communication skills because these are the skills that enhance compliance, motivation, patient empowerment. And we're going to get into how these skills will not only help your clients to get better results, but it will make your work so much easier on you. And step 3 for building a science-based integrative women's health practice is to really understand the modern practical challenges that women have when it comes to their health that they may not have had in any other generation, and that may be similar to your personal experience, but different or maybe wildly different from your personal experience. So we'll get into all 3 of these things because you need a depth of understanding in each of these categories to build a sought after, solid for the long term women's health practice with an integrated perspective. So let's have some fun. At the end of this webinar, I have a special invitation for you. So stay tuned till the very end. And please eliminate distractions. I know how it is. We all have a lot going on, but I strongly suggest that you close all other windows, silence your cell phone notifications, and find a quiet place so that you can focus on what we're going to discuss today and take some valuable clinical pearls with you right back to your practice tonight, tomorrow. So let me tell you a little bit about me if we have not met yet. So I was always kind of a, type A go-getter. I did gymnastics my entire childhood. I spent most of my childhood either at school or in a sweaty gym. And there's a little picture of us doing a Christmas performance, which wasn't really what most of my gymnastics life was like. But I did find that picture. Somebody posted it on Facebook. But I was a competitive gymnast for, from age 7 until about age 13. Age 17. I did it for about 13 years. And then I went to college, and I no longer did gymnastics, but I was a collegiate cheerleader at University of Virginia, and I was a personal trainer. That's not a picture of me. I couldn't find any pictures of me in my cute cheerleading garb, but that was a sport in and of itself. And I worked as an athletic trainer in the training room in Virginia as I was studying to go to prepare for my master's program. So I was always this like straight A student, go-getter, active, athletic. So all through my 20s, college, graduate school, my 20s, I pretty much burned the candle at both ends. Like lots of women clinicians, women's health experts, we have to learn these things the hard way, right? Then I graduated from physical therapy school. I became a physical therapist. I started out in sports medicine and orthopedics because I had this childhood and young adulthood love of sports. But eventually, and actually pretty quickly after I graduated from physical therapy school, I specialized in women's health. I got married. I had a baby, that little redhead you can see there, who's practically a teenager at this point. And then I crashed. It all caught up with me, right? Burnout, chronic pain, quote unquote, adrenal fatigue, HPA axis dysfunction, a hormonal crash, constant illness, anxiety, all these vague symptoms that so many of my women's health clients are dealing with that were not dealt with well at all in the traditional medical system. They tried to give me antidepressants or tell me to just take a nap or everything's fine. Your tests are all normal. You're totally fine. I tried different kinds of therapy and nothing worked. So I went back to school to become a functional nutritionist because I met a functional medicine physician. And before that, I hadn't heard of functional medicine, which is a perspective on healing that the goal is simply to look for the root cause rather than symptom management. So symptom management would mean, okay, you've burned yourself out for, 30 years. You burned yourself out for 30 years. Now you have anxiety and your immune system's crashed and your hormones are out of balance. Let's just give you an antidepressant, right? That's symptom management, which didn't work well for this chronic illness that I experienced and doesn't work well for most of my patients and clients. So I learned a functional medicine approach, which, functional medicine, integrative medicine, the perspective really is aiming for root cause resolution of the problem. So I love that perspective because it really generates deep healing, and it did for me, and now it does for my patients and clients. So I went back to school, studied health coaching, functional nutrition, and I founded the Integrative Women's Health Institute when I was 37, and I went on to have baby number 2 because I recovered fully. It took me a while. It took me about 2.5 years to fully recover, but now I'm vibrant, healthy, teach all over the world, have 2 kids, really busy life, but it's so much fun. So I bring my personal story into this because so many of your clients are going to have these lifelong personal stories that landed them with chronic illness. Sometimes there's some genetic component, sometimes there's some stress component, sometimes there's a hormonal shift like pregnancy or an immune shift. There are so many factors that we have to recognize that most of our clients aren't coming with super simple situations when they see us. They're coming with an entire backstory that brought them to their chronic illness. And we want to be thinking to have a successful integrative women's health practice, we have to integrate their life story with their health challenge. And the fact that it probably just didn't come out of nowhere, it may have been building over time. So everyone has their own story, and parts of that story are likely contributing to the underlying root cause of their chronic concern. So what do I know about running an integrative women's health practice? Well, I started working as a health coach and gaining nutrition skills in 2009. So before that, since 1999, I had practiced as a women's health specialist, physical therapist with a lot of orthopedics and manual therapy thrown in there. So I combined everything in the sense that I had just started learning health coaching skills and functional nutrition skills, and I started to bring it into and influence my physical therapy practice. Then in 2011, I officially started my own private practice in women's health coaching and nutrition, a global practice, virtual global practice. In 2012, I began teaching globally to other healthcare professionals, physicians, physical therapists, health coaches, nutritionists, fitness professionals all over the world how to use evidence-based integrative tools for women's healthcare. And I think if you take nothing else from my talk today, recognize that there is a growing and strengthening body of evidence to support this conservative but integrative and deep approach to healing for clients so that we're not constantly sending them for symptom management. We're not trying to manage symptoms like a whack-a-mole. We are really looking at setting a strong foundation of health and optimizing health using this integrative and holistic approach. And rarely do clinicians really take the time to learn that there's an evidence base to this. We have science to back up a lot of what we do now, and that science is expanding. And so in order to be well respected by your community and by your colleagues, understanding that science is essential. As I said, you need 3 key skill sets to build a solid, long-lasting, and successful integrative women's health practice. You need to understand nutrition and lifestyle medicine to support healing from all of these chronic women's health issues, or whichever one you decide to really specialize and focus in on. You need health coaching communication skills to encourage empowerment and encourage the clients to really buy into and do the work of healing. Because when we heal from the root cause, most of the time that requires lifestyle changes. And one of my students gave me this metaphor and I love it. So when we talk about setting a foundation of health, as health professionals, we're often just taught to give lists of recommendations. Here's the foods you should eat. Here's the foods you shouldn't eat. Here's your home exercise program. Here's what you need to be doing at home. And we give these lists, and then the patients come back over and over having never done any of the stuff on the list, or, I tried to do it Tuesday and then I forgot. And, they're not setting that foundation. They're not making those health behavior changes that really help us get to the root. And when they're not doing that, we have low compliance and then we get frustrated. But health coaching skills are the secret sauce to getting your clients to, and here's the analogy. So if you were to go to your dental hygienist and you do a cleaning and she says, okay, here's your toothbrush. Between now and your next cleaning, you need to brush your teeth, right? She doesn't come with you. She doesn't come home with you and brush your teeth every night. So getting our clients to brush their teeth every night, in our case, it's a little more than that. It's drink enough water, go to bed at the right time. Don't be overexposed to screens and blue light devices. Spend more time in nature. Eat specific foods. Take specific supplements. All of these things that they have to do over time consistently. The only way to, I believe, really get clients to participate in doing all these things that are the essential to root cause resolution is to have strong health coaching communication skills. And you have to understand, to help clients implement these things, the lifestyle demands that are on modern women today. And we'll get into that because you probably have a lot of demands on you. You are a modern woman. You're living this. You work. You may have kids. You may have, parents to take care of, community volunteering. But your experience is not the same as everyone. So the more that you understand how each woman may be dealing with the practical challenges of being a modern woman, you can help her navigate those so that she can, go home and implement that constellation of recommendations that really sets the foundation of her health. When you do these 3 things, your clients get great results. And when your clients get great results, marketing becomes so much easier. Opportunities open up to you, word of mouth, referrals, you get invited to speak, clients send their friends, their physicians send other people, and your practice grows more easily because you're getting great results with your clients. So step 1, every single person who wants to run a successful Integrative women's health practice of any kind, whether your key focus is nutrition, fitness, physical therapy, body work, if you're a physician, whatever your practice perspective, your licensure, your certification is, doesn't matter. You have got to have some foundational understanding of nutrition and lifestyle medicine. But I'm not a nutritionist. I wasn't a nutritionist before either, but you still need to know this. It doesn't matter. Every clinician, every health coach, every fitness and wellness professional needs to understand nutrition. Why? Everyone eats, and nutrition is essential to health. You cannot medicate, exercise, or supplement your way out of a bad diet. So all of your clients need to at least have a foundational knowledge of nutrition that is not based on the current trends, that's based on research and your understanding of that research. You don't have to know everything about nutrition. And in fact, in many cases, doing lots of depth, in-depth testing and supplementation may be out of your scope of practice. But, and actually all of our training here, all of our courses, but especially this course, the Women's Health Coach Certification, includes important information from my personal attorney who has lots of expertise in scope of practice law about how to practice specifically in your scope of practice when it comes to nutrition. So don't worry about that. We're going to make sure exactly to what level you can utilize your knowledge in a patient engagement situation. But no matter what, you have got to have some basic understanding and how to access more in-depth understanding about nutrition or make appropriate referrals, because the vast majority of our patients and clients have very poor nutrition. In the United States alone, at least 1 in 4 people eat some type of fast food every day. Americans consume 31% more packaged food than fresh food. 20% of all American meals are eaten in the car. So we're starting from a really poor nutrition situation. Everyone needs to have some level of knowledge if you work in healthcare or wellness care. So step 1 is simply the shift to real food. We've got to support our clients to get off of the fast food, candy, wine, caffeine diet, right? And get them started off eating nourishing, nutrient-dense whole foods. And for a lot of people, just that shift from fast food and candy to actual food makes a dramatic difference to their health. And a lot of times, and this is why we need step 2, which we'll get to in a minute, stay tuned. This is more of an issue of having strong health coaching communication skills versus having highly skilled nutrition knowledge, because most people know that vegetables are better than Oreos. And yet, many people will choose Oreos over vegetables. So it's not always an issue of not knowing what to do. It's the implementation piece, the motivation piece. So that's the communication skills that you need to learn. But you also need to have a solid foundation in understanding nutrition and how nutrition affects physiology, biochemistry, at least at a basic level, so that when you get to a point where a person seems to be eating a reasonably healthy diet, but they're still not getting better, you know the options for testing, for looking for nutrient deficiencies, for looking at digestive function, for looking at hormone imbalances. So you can either dig deeper, or if it's outside of your scope of practice, you know where to refer those clients to safely. And then you can help support other clinicians that you're collaborating with that implementation piece. If you are referring to a physician or a nutritionist or a clinician that has nutrition within their scope of practice, they may make some recommendations, and then you use your skill set number 2, your health coaching communication skills, to help that client really implement on a consistent basis those recommendations. So we all have to understand nutrition at a base level, and we all have to understand core concepts in nutrition: digestive function, immune function, the impact of nutrition on nervous system, cardiovascular system, the musculoskeletal system, and the hormone systems, no matter what your discipline is. And everyone needs to know how to critically read nutrition research. What were the funding sources? What was the power of the study? Were there any, major conflicts of interest? Mechanisms of the impact of food on biochemistry, and looking at for which patients does adding magnesium supplementation help? For which patients does shifting to a very low carb diet help? And the more we understand how to read the research, we can stay up on the research evolution as the medical system and the scientific community learns more, rather than just getting stuck with whatever, the trends are in the media or whatever. Because the scientific understanding continuously evolves. We also have to understand that even if some of these aspects of this, some of the more details of this are outside of your scope of practice, you need to support your clients with quality education about which functional tests may be useful. Even if you're not ordering those tests, then you have to know, well, who would order those tests? How do we help the client see those people? Cooking skills. If what was it, like 20% of American meals are eaten in the car, or was it 30%? Those people aren't cooking, right? They're driving through somewhere and eating. They don't know how to cook, so we need basic cooking skills and other resources like designing recipes and batch cooking and making things simpler for our busy women clients, which we'll talk about more in step 3. Supplement safety and quality. Our clients are exposed to marketing for all kinds of vitamins and supplements, and a lot of it does just help you create expensive pee. It is of terrible quality. It's not effective. In the wrong client, it could be even dangerous. So we have to, as health and wellness professionals, we have to have the knowledge to counteract that marketing hype and know quality sources of supplements and when they're appropriate to use and when they're inappropriate to use, or at least how to refer to a colleague who is very knowledgeable in that realm of understanding. Also, we have to know at minimum how to determine, so we may not be, again, doing the specifics of this, but we have to understand how to determine the benefits and risks of various dietary recommendations to that particular client. Not everyone should be on a vegan diet. Not everyone should be on a ketogenic diet, right? It all depends. Is that client pregnant? Does she have a heart condition? Does she have risk factors for stroke or something? We have to put the nutrition literature into context. There's not a one size fits all healthy diet. That simply doesn't exist. And even if some aspects of this are outside of your scope of practice, as I mentioned, you need to support your clients with quality referrals and with education on what questions they should be asking their primary care providers, their nutritionists, their herbalists, their naturopath, and their other professionals on their team. And nourishment is so much more than food. So beyond nutrition literature, as health and wellness professionals specializing in women's health, we have to understand how to critically review the data on things like sleep hygiene, earthing, work stress, mindfulness, support networks, relationship stress, trauma history, and many more factors that affect nourishment, that affect foundational root cause health, but are not just about food or supplements. Understanding how to educate and coach clients to nourish themselves with all these facets of lifestyle medicine often is the key to getting to the root cause of the health concern. So if we think back to my story, I was burning the candle at both ends. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't getting adequate nourishment. I was eating lots of sugar. I was on computers too much. I was working too much. I had relationship stress because my husband was traveling a lot and we had a small kid. So without dealing with those issues, I would never have gotten to the root cause of my challenge. I would have just continued to try to suppress the symptoms with antidepressants or sleep medications or things like that. All right. So nutrition and lifestyle medicine skills are essential for all integrative women's health practitioners. Health coaching communication skills specific to women are absolutely essential. This is step 2 for building a solid integrative women's health practice of any kind, whether you're specializing in fertility or perimenopause, hormones or exercise or, fitness or weight loss, whatever the focus is. If you are working with women, you have got to understand health coach communication skills, and not just from the air. You've got to look at these skills and how they are grounded in peer-reviewed research. Because again, like nutrition and lifestyle medicine, there is a growing body of evidence that supports which communication skills are most effective in which situations. Coaching is a distinct therapeutic relationship with clear ethics and boundaries. This is not a friendly chat. It's not psychotherapy, and it is not purely education. So you may be a really skilled women's health practitioner who does a great job educating your clients and patients on their options for treatment, on the things that you recommend that they do at home, how often they should take their medication or supplements, what kinds of exercise they should be doing, what time they should be taking their walks. You might lay that out very clearly. But the next step and the most important step towards compliance and beyond compliance to empowerment are health coaching skills. And without these particular communication tools, you can kind of talk till you're blue in the face, and you can give very clear education and recommendations, and your clients are going to continue to come back to you saying that they haven't done them, and they wanted to do them. They understand why they're important. They thought they were going to do them, and they just haven't. They didn't have time. There's lots of vague excuses. They didn't get to it. This is the secret sauce. Why does every health and wellness professional need these skills? Because we need a match between our patient and client expectations and the practitioner expectations. So to give you an example, I had a student the other day who was saying she was working with someone who had low back pain. And, she was a physical therapist. She kept giving him very clear instructions about appropriate home exercise program to do to resolve his back pain. And every week he would come back, oh, I tried it one day. I didn't get to it. Yeah, I just didn't have time to do it this week. He never completed this. And she's like, he gave me very specific goals. I assume that he wants to participate in his healing. Well, the problem with that is that it's a huge assumption on her part. She's assuming that her client wants to do everything it's going to take to get better. He wants to go to the gym. He wants to get up earlier. He wants to, not do something else so he has time for his exercises. She's assumed all of that. And the truth is, he wanted to go see a physical therapist who would massage his back or something, make him better, and he could get back to gardening. He wouldn't have to do anything. That was his expectation. And when the practitioner and the patient's expectations don't meet, we both get frustrated because we're like, why is the patient not implementing these very clear instructions? And the patient's like, why do I have to do all this work? I thought I was coming to physical therapy to just get exercise, just get massage and my back would be better. So these skills really get to the root of the challenges of why your clients or patients may not be following the recommendations, even if they agree that they're useful, even if they, agree with, that they may help, but there are many barriers to change that most clinicians don't consider when they make lots of recommendations or even small numbers of recommendations to their patients or clients. Even for clients who are given a medication, only about 20% of the time do they consistently and correctly implement taking that medication. So even if the recommendation is fairly simple, there are lots of barriers to health behavior change that you need to understand and help your clients to navigate, or they will never implement your recommendations. Because the thing is, as we go back to that, the dental hygienist does not brush your teeth, you have to go home and brush your teeth, right? The patient or client's participation in her care is central to your work together and central to the fact of her ability to get better. She gets better faster and with more complete results when she actively participates in her care. And a lot of times she can't get better at all unless she actively participates in her care. She's empowered to self-correct when she stops using some of the nutrition, exercise, or lifestyle medicine tools because she knows how to use them in her life. And then when she kind of, falls off course a little bit or gets busy or, where there are other barriers we have to manage, like going to her mother-in-law's for Christmas dinner and she eats something that, flares her immune system, she has the understanding and the practice and the practical tools to self-correct with maybe just a little support from you, but it's not like, oh no, I just, kind of out of the sky, something crazy happened and I had a huge flare up and I don't know what happened. And they come back sort of starting at square one. With strong health coach communication skills, your clients become more and more and more empowered even to navigate when things go awry. One of my clients just last week got in a minor car accident. So we navigated that, but it wasn't extremely difficult because there's been a foundation set already of her participation in her care and her work, her own healing. The healing relationship is based in the patient or client's commitment to healing. You simply cannot want it more than her, which is heartbreaking for me and so many of my students. But this is essential to understand, and we go really deep into why in our program, because until we get this, it's very hard for us to empower our clients, and we often take on more responsibility for our clients' care than is good for them and that is effective. Also, health coaching communication skills connect our physical health goals, our client's physical health goals with her life goals. Why does she want to be healthier? She want to walk her daughter down the aisle? Does she want to get back to work? Does she want to be able to travel? And really connecting her goals with her physical health makes a huge difference to her motivation. So essentially, by teaching her to fish, by not just educating her, but helping her to navigate barriers to change, to connecting her physical health with her life goals, to, asking herself powerful questions about her own fears and her own belief systems, and so many other things that really help us get to the root causes of our clients' health challenges. And sometimes those aren't very obvious when they first walk in with pain somewhere. When we get to that root and then we help our clients to really understand how to optimize the health of their own bodies, of each of their own systems, our clinical work becomes so much easier and so much more rewarding because our clients are really active participants joyfully in the process. So how has this skill set helped some of our past women's health coach certification students? One told me, I give much better informed consent now. We talk a lot about informed consent. One said, I no longer assume that my patient will go home and do what I recommend. I have tools now to be sure that they will because they're excited about it, and we've already considered potential barriers to taking action. I feel so much less burned out, said another, because I understand now that I can't, quote unquote, fix everyone if they don't want to participate. And that is just such a sigh of relief when most of our training programs really gave us responsibility for things that we don't always have the resources or the authority to change. And that makes our work hard and heartbreaking more than it needs to be when we really understand how much power we have or don't have to, quote unquote, fix our clients. At the end of the day, our clients' healing comes from within themselves. We have strategies, we have tools, we have therapeutic, hands-on tools, physical medicine tools, nutraceuticals, nutrition recommendations, body work, exercise recommendations. We have all these tools, but the vast majority of the time, the client has to own bringing them into their lives on a consistent basis. All right, skill set number 3, step 3 that is essential. We've got to understand the modern demands on women. Most of our students in the Integrative Women's Health Institute are working moms, working women themselves. So you understand this because you're living this. You don't need, it's not a huge leap of faith to get training in this. However, because each case is unique, and we talk a lot about this in our coach training, it's not always useful to give examples from your own experience. We have to understand the data on the experience of women in general during modern times, what they are taking on, and what about that might be negatively impacting or even positively impacting their health. So we can help them with health behavior change, which is the core of what women's health coaching is. So you have to not just know your experience, but know the data. And then you have to learn tools to deeply listen for their experience, because in friendship conversations, we're often sharing each other's experience back and forth. It can be helpful to tell your story or the story of someone else. Sometimes it's not, who knows? But in a therapeutic relationship, sharing your story actually could be detrimental. So you need to understand this piece of the puzzle from the perspective of that particular client, not from your experience. Your experience is important, which is why I shared my story at the beginning of this webinar. And through our women's health coach certification, we strongly encourage you to optimize your own health along the way, because we want you to be living imperfect inspiration examples for your client. But how you do it exactly is not necessarily how they will do it. We can inspire, but we're not maps. Every person's journey, dance, healing experience is distinct and unique. So what our experience is not a map for someone else. It's an inspiration. And that's actually been really fun. I've taught this women's health coach certification for several years now. Like, this is about our 4th time, and as of 2015, and we just keep doing it every year. And so, what's great about that is, like, just last week in our Facebook group, we had someone talking about how she's been implementing everything in the program, and she personally got pregnant. We have women starting fitness programs in their 50s who maybe never exercised before. So it's really encouraging and exciting to see women's health professionals who often are not so healthy themselves because you're crazy busy, right? You're working, you've got your own kids, you've got demands on you, and everyone thinks you're like the family health expert, right? You're busy. And so this is an opportunity for you to also take this wisdom and apply it to you and experience it so that you can become an inspiration for your clients imperfectly. Everyone's journey is unique, but that's really fun to see. And our community is so supportive and encouraging. So what's the data? I'll give you a few clinical pearls now. 70% of mothers work outside of the home. 12% of women are caregivers to adult family members. Women are the healthcare CEOs of the family. They make the majority of decisions about healthcare for every member of the family, for their spouses, for their children. Women are doing the majority of the cooking. And what's so exciting about this to me, and one of the reasons that I specialized in women's health, beyond just my personal interest and my, clinical background, is that when you support the woman of the family to make healing changes for herself, and I've seen this over and over and over again in my clinical practice, her whole family gets healthier. I had one client, her husband was essentially bedridden from chronic pain. They had a small daughter that, they couldn't travel. They were both just in terrible physical condition when we first met. And 2 years later, maybe a little bit longer, 2.5 years later, he was inspired by everything she had done to start taking care of himself. They went on a family vacation to Europe. They walked and walked and walked for days on end, and everyone was great and fine and had a great time. And, 2 years before that, the whole family, even their younger daughter, were sick. And, I really think that when we support a woman of the family feeling healthy and vital and nourished and happy, the whole family gets happier and healthier. When you make recommendations to women about their health, you're just more effective if you understand and anticipate the practical barriers to change due to the challenges of work, home care, elder care, housework, child care, volunteering. When you take these practical barriers of change into consideration, your health recommendations are simply going to be more effective. And if you consider these practical barriers to change in your own life and practice health promoting strategies despite these potential challenges, again, you become such an inspiration for your clients. So integrative women's health practice results good results for your patients and clients come when you use evidence-based nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle medicine biometric testing, assessments, and strategies to support root cause healing of these common women's health concerns. Everything from hypothyroidism to chronic fatigue to chronic pain, migraines, hormonal imbalances, painful periods, sexual pain. We could go on and on and on. Autoimmune diseases, fertility challenges, postpartum recovery, perimenopausal issues, whatever it is, the women's health chronic illness that you want to focus on, women's cardiovascular health, prevention of cancer, improved recovery from breast cancer and other women's cancers. I mean, we could go on and on and on. It's the same 3 skill sets that will support you, help you support your clients to get that root cause healing. Now, sometimes it's in collaboration with other professionals. Certainly you'll be working with an oncologist if your client has cancer. If your client has heart disease, you'll be working with a cardiologist. There'll be medical therapies from their general practitioner or a functional medicine physician, physical therapies, physical medicine. Sometimes they require surgery, or endometriosis clients a lot of times require surgery. So there are other health and wellness professionals on the team, and that is good. And when you use an evidence-based approach, you can so much more boldly and confidently and intelligently communicate with these other members of the team to really advocate for your patients and clients. Empowered patients that participate actively in their healing dramatically reduce your own stress. So these 2 things are really the bottom line of why we want these 3 skill sets to be strong so that we can have a great, effective, integrative women's health practice that we actually enjoy. Okay, so let me introduce you to a client that I worked with, a case study for you, because I want to show you in action how even if this client sounds a little overwhelming, and a lot of our women's health clients with chronic health concerns can sound that way at first. It's like, oh my gosh, there's so much going on. But when you have these 3 steps dialed in, no client is too overwhelming. Okay. So she's a 45-year-old woman. She was referred to me by her physical therapist. She's also working with a functional medicine physician, which is great. So from the very get-go, she's got a small, effective professional team, and we can work together. So when she came to see me, her complaints were fatigue, anxiety, unstable moods, insomnia, constipation, chronic bloating since her teen years, hair loss, chronic foot pain, heart palpitations, chronic cough and cold, brain fog, and feelings of overwhelm. She said to me, I haven't slept in 5 years. And she would say things like, I have bursts of fake energy just in an attempt to have a happy home. And this is one of those practical things that women do, right? They try to keep it together despite, that list of physical challenges, try to keep it together to, make her family happy. Her medical history, she had a son at age 41. She also has a 14-year-old daughter from a previous marriage. Since having her son, she reported feeling overwhelmed 100% of the time and usually suffering with a cold or cough. She also reports insomnia with fatigue during the day. She was newly diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and increased intestinal permeability or leaky gut was suspected by her functional medicine doctor. She also complained of nerve pain in her foot, had a cardiac arrhythmia, palpitation. She'd been on some hormone replacement therapy with her functional medicine physician, but couldn't tolerate it due to the side effects. So what was my functional assessment? Well, again, using tools of evidence-based nutrition and lifestyle medicine within my scope of practice as a nutritionist and health coach in collaboration with her healing team. I used my expert health coaching communication skills, and I considered her practical challenges of being a modern woman. She's a part-time working mom of a 5-year-old and a team, second marriage. So a lot of practical challenges going on here. And again, I was not overwhelmed because I had these 3 skill sets. So we just use them, apply them to her case, which clearly you'll learn how to do in a lot more depth in the program. So when I met her, she had been on a sugar, gluten, dairy, and soy-free diet for 2 months. She was eating mostly organic foods and rarely drank alcohol. But she had some significant lab results, nutrient deficiencies and insufficiencies, quite a few, dysbiosis on her stool test, so an imbalance in her gut microbiome, abnormal thyroid and adrenal hormones, numerous genetic SNPs. She hadn't slept through the night in 5 years. She had a supportive spouse, a great physician, lots of great friends, and she was not exercising other than going to physical therapy for her foot. Now, her perspective. So this is a tool that I use called the Holistic Women's Health Assessment. And we look at, and this is from a health coaching perspective, all of these domains of health, because again, right from the get-go, we want our clients empowered to participate in their healing. So I don't just check off, what's your strength? Give me a 3-day food journal. What's your pain level? We look at her participation, her commitment to her own health. And we look at that by looking at her health domains. So perspective, she was optimistic, but she had overwhelm since the birth of her son. Connection, good professional and personal support. Nourishment, while she was eating a low foods and anti-inflammatory diet, she did have significant nutrient deficiencies and digestive function challenges. Her strength was okay, but she wasn't exercising, but her emotional strength was okay. Good emotional resilience, strong support network, contribution. She'd like to be more present with her family. She feels like she's always running. I think 95% of my women's health clients feel like they're always running, right? Work, activities, household chores, but she enjoys her family. She just wants to be more present. Attention, worsening brain fog, insomnia, fatigue, anxiety. She wakes up tired, hasn't slept through the night since her son was born, so not great on the rest domain. And so we use the 3 key steps. We created an optimized nutrition and supplement plan using evidence-based and practical challenges. No need for excessive testing because I was able to clearly explain and talk about costs and benefits of the various functional tests that are available and make some collaborative decisions with her functional medicine physician about which tests are useful, which tests are unnecessary, so she's not overwhelmed by having to have all this testing done. As I said, collaboration with her physician as needed, use of valid and reliable labs, focus on digestive and immune function, minimize the complexity of the recommendations to fit her busy life and current fatigue. So when your client comes to you fatigued and you educate them, even if it's really clearly on a long list of things to do, but don't support that and don't take that practical consideration into account, they just can't execute it. They're too tired. They're too busy. For this client, the data on sleep and circadian rhythms was essential, probably more essential than what she was putting in her mouth. Her web of support we got into, and slow progression into safe exercise. So in the program, we took a lot more about specifics with this, but this is how we utilize this for this client. Step 2, how did we use, particular for women, health coaching communication skills? Well, we connected her healing plan to her vision. So we did a lot of visioning exercises for a wonderful life with her family. We predicted, or if they were unpredictable, we supported obstacles. She had a late period. She had challenges on a family vacation. She experienced some kind of out of the blue jaw pain. She had a minor car accident. So how do we navigate all of those obstacles / barriers to change? We discussed her willingness and ability to implement changes over time. And we worked in baby steps to have more transformative, permanent actions over time that led to, again, that root cause resolution. We understood her modern demands. She's a mother in a blended family. She had a second baby at age 41. She was breastfeeding and perimenopausal. She had challenges with her teenage daughter. And so we worked on very realistic goals, including how much time she would really have for things like mindfulness, meditation, and exercise, which are great. And if we just look at the literature on those things, if we only use step 1, we're like, okay, you've got to meditate twice a day for 20 minutes. She's like, okay, whatever. And we don't take this step into account. That's a great evidence-based recommendation, but it might be unrealistic for some of your clients. And we got great results with her. So don't ever feel overwhelmed. Have these 3 skill sets in your pocket. We streamlined and consistently helped her implement food and supplement plan. We made dramatic strides with her sleep and circadian rhythms, significantly reduced fatigue. She was less and less dependent on accountability from me, like checking in with me, having sessions with me. And she created structures for self-accountability so that the patients become increasingly empowered and independent. She was an empowered and confident client. She became the leader of her professional health team and used them over time as needed. Empowered in her life as a mother, and kind of leadership in her wonderful family, along with her spouse, and collaboratively as they work together now. She wasn't like being dragged along, feeling just awful all the time, or trying to manufacture fake energy to be like, okay, everybody, we're going to have dinner tonight as a family, and then crash and be exhausted, right? So consequently, she was much happier, and her health improved by about 80% at the writing of this. Much better sleep with less fatigue, anxiety. Her moods are much more stable, improved brain fog, improved insomnia. Her hair's thicker. Digestive function became normal. Osteoarthritic pain, much less, although she did have a little setback from a recent motor vehicle accident, but we'll get over that. Again, it's just a barrier, little obstacle, but now she's not afraid of navigating those because, life happens, right? In conclusion, developing strong skills in these 3 essential skill sets is how you get your complex and common women's health clients with chronic concerns healthier. You've got to understand nutrition and lifestyle medicine from an evidence-based approach, not just one perspective, not just one fad perspective, or even one, reasonable perspective. You have to look at the literature in context of the client sitting in front of you. Health coaching communication skills, I can't highlight enough how essential that is to making your life as a clinician easier and happier, because your clients really buy into their care, they become empowered, and they take a really active role happily. They're not constantly dragging them along. And a depth of knowledge about the actual data surrounding modern practical challenges for women, and how your experience may inspire, but is probably not a map. So we have to learn self-management tools, which is a part of step 2. When your clients get great results, your practice grows. When your clients are empowered, you are less burned out and so much more confident. And when you come from all of this with evidence-based training, you're confident in your communication with colleagues, with other members of the healthcare team, in your marketing, because you've got a strong foundation of scientifically based knowledge. So to learn more about how to deepen your skills in all three of those essential areas, we have created the Integrative Women's Health Institute Women's Health Coach Certification. This is the only health coach certification in the world that focuses on all three essential skill sets specifically for women's health professionals. And we also offer an option where if you complete all of the requirements, you can sit for the NCC HWC exam, which is the national exam for health coaches in the United States. So if you live in the United States and you want the approval via an exam through a third-party organization, NCC HWC is national. We don't own them. We have not, we're outside of them. They oversee all of the health coach programs. So you have the opportunity to get that third-party stamp of approval, which adds legitimacy, in some cases, confidence. It's a useful national exam to take if you really want to have that third-party oversight of your skills. But it's not required, and it's only United States based, so you don't have to, do all of the requirements to meet that option. Am I qualified to teach you this program? I think so. I've been an invited speaker at top professional conferences for women's health professionals many times, really over the course of my whole career, but especially in the last 5 years. Conferences such as the American Physical Therapy Association's Combined Sections meeting, International Pelvic Pain Society's annual meeting, and clinics and conferences all over Ireland, California, New Jersey, Texas, New York, London, Turkey, and more. I've been an invited guest on major podcasts and online summits, The Pelvic Messenger, Couch Talk with Dr. Anna Kabecka, The Future of Healing's online conference, the Healing Pain Summit, and many more. I do probably 1 or 2 of these every month now, maybe more. I have an undergraduate degree in biology, so I started off in the basic sciences from the University of Virginia. My master's degree is in physical therapy from Emory University. I have over 12 years of women's health physical therapy experience. Actually, more than that now. Gosh, I graduated 17 years ago. I have health coach certifications from IIN and Duke Integrative Medicine, which was a fully mostly on-campus program. 5 years running an integrative practice in functional nutrition and coaching for pelvic pain and other women's health concerns. We also have a staff now of other clinicians that I lead. 4 years of international integrative women's healthcare professional teaching experience. And as of the class of 2017, I will have my doctorate degree in functional nutrition. I am also the author of Functional Nutrition for Pelvic Health, a chapter in the Healing in Urology textbook. This program is for physical therapists, occupational therapists, chiropractors, clinical nutritionists, dietitians, health coaches who want to deepen their skills or who want a women's health specialty or niche, fitness professionals, athletic trainers, physicians. By the way, this can be your first health coaching certification. You don't have to, have a prerequisite earlier health coaching certification. So if you know right off the bat you want to work with women clients and you want to be a health coach, this can be your first certification, your only certification. Fitness professionals, athletic trainers, physicians, nurses, any professionals who work with women's health clients. This is not a patient level program. The program is over 80 hours of content, 27 modules, many with multiple parts, spanning evidence-based health coaching skills, modern practical challenges for women, and nutrition and lifestyle medicine skills. You can complete this at your own pace over approximately 9 to 12 months. There are monthly live Q&A calls with the faculty, extended support from our faculty, current students, and global alumni. CEUs are available for a variety of professions, Exams and certificates of completion are provided. Certificates of certification are provided when you complete all the requirements. And it's optional to attend 2 live retreats and have one-on-one practical practice and a practical exam with the faculty. And by doing those extra steps, you'll be qualified to sit for the NCCHWC National Health Coach Certification Exam, which is that US-based third-party exam that I mentioned. And to learn more about that, the details will be listed on the page below this video, or you can email us and we can give you more information. So what does the program include? Well, part 1 are the women's health coaching communication skills. These are 19 modules to deepen and develop your coaching communication skills. As I said, absolutely any person in the universe working in a health or wellness practitioner capacity with women need to understand and have great skills in this area. This is the secret sauce for compliance and patient empowerment, bar none. We'll talk about things like visions and values, mindful listening, reflections, powerful questions, overcoming barriers to change, inner critic work, goal setting and accountability, narrative medicine, motivational interviewing, and so much more. You're going to really have a depth of skill and a strong toolbox to really help your clients become empowered. Then part 2 is women's health, functional nutrition, and lifestyle medicine skills. This is the functional nutrition model applied to women. So the categories of topics in this program are evidence-based sex differences in the stress response and mind-body medicine to reduce stress, again, particular to women, optimizing digestive function and supporting healthy nutrition through the lifespan, minimizing cardiovascular disease risk in women, and women's cardiovascular health. We're always talking about optimizing health from this perspective, not just getting out of pain, symptom suppression, but optimizing health from the root. We'll also be talking about autoimmune disease in women, nutrition and lifestyle medicine to support immune health, women's hormonal health from puberty all the way through menopause, psychoneuroimmunology for women, which encompasses things like women and mood disorders, nutrition and lifestyle medicine to support women's mental health and cognitive health, brain health, creating a health coaching practice that serves the women in your community and nourishes you to prevent compassion fatigue and practitioner burnout. Because, it's not great if I train women all over the world to help other women and then the cost of doing that to them is burnout, then I haven't done my job, right? My goal is to help you build the kind of practice that actually nourishes and vitalizes you so that your clients and patients are getting happier and healthier, and so are you. Finally, the third part of the program is optional, but it is required if you want to be qualified to sit for the NCCHWC US National Health Coach Certification Exam. You must also have significant documented hours of live training, practice, mentorship, some experience. So you need to study for the exam. So, that's a step up. So you will be attending 2 live long weekend retreats and participating in at least 3 live practice and 1 live exam phone call with your faculty mentor. So again, all of those details in fuller detail will be listed below this page. But that part 3 is optional if you want to be certified by a third-party organization. If you want certification from the Integrative Women's Health Institute, our institute, parts 1 and parts 2 are required. What can I do with this training? Well, now lots of our clients go off and start their own women's health coach practice in any kind of in-demand women's health niche, fertility, hormones, pelvic pain. We have women starting practices all over the world, or some who have existing wellness practices and just want to niche or get stronger skills in their niche. Others are practicing, they're clinicians or wellness professionals, fitness professionals, and they want to add health coaching, nutrition, and lifestyle medicine skills to their current health or wellness practice. which works so well because that increases compliance, reduces compassion fatigue and burnout for the practitioner while getting better results for your patients and clients. Others want to add, or they have done this in the past, added an online revenue stream or group program revenue stream to their one-on-one fitness, wellness, or clinical practice. And others write, speak, teach. They launch a career more as like a women's health expert, either in person, they do live speaking tours, write books, or they build online platforms where they do similar things. So what is the pricing, the dates? What are all your FAQs that I can answer? Well, below this video, we have detailed all of that, the pricing, the payment plans for all 3 parts of the women's health certification. As I said, parts 1 and 2 are required for certification from us. And if you want to be eligible to sit for the third-party NCCHWC exam, then part 3 is also required. Dates, the locations, and other details for the live retreats will be listed below, and more. We'll answer all your questions. See below this video for all of the details about this year's options for certification that fit your needs. You can complete the 3 parts of certification individually and at your own pace, or commit to completing certification in less than 1 year and just power through, do the whole thing. So if you only want to focus on part 1, your health coach communication skills, you can do that. If you only want to focus on part 2, your women's health, functional nutrition, and lifestyle medicine skills, you can do that. Everything is designed to be done at your own pace. I know every single person on this call is a busy woman, and maybe a few men, but everyone here is busy. And you will have full support of our faculty, our student, and our alumni community. Thank you for joining me today. We covered the 3 essential skill sets that you need to build a solid, respected, sought-after integrative women's health practice with integrity and with confidence, not just based on the latest fitness or nutrition fads, right? This is based in peer-reviewed, evolving science, and your brand is not going to fall apart if the science changes. Also, we covered deepening your skills in health coaching communication, functional nutrition and lifestyle medicine, and integrating all of that with the modern demands on women that affect their health and will make you a strong, industry-leading women's health and wellness professional, because you'll know how to help your clients, and also you'll know how to be an inspiration yourself, and we'll support you to actually do that during the program. Thank you so much. It was my pleasure to share this important information with you. I look forward to getting to know you better and to support you to grow your integrative women's health practice, helping more women to live vibrant and healthy lives. To get all the details about the Women's Health Coach Certification Program, read on below. See you there. Bye.